to createwithchristine.com and another online video tutorial. Today we're going to create this simple, no waste crisscross card. It looks a lot harder than it actually is. To get started, we're going to dye our own Just Blooms flower a twilight to match the background texture paper of the sarsaparilla paper packet. To do that, we want to pull out a piece of scratch paper. I use rubbing alcohol, some of our Twilight re-inker, and I've discovered that I'm able to keep a smaller amount of liquid on my flowers if I use a spritzer. So I'm using an older My Acrylic spritzer bottle, and you may wonder, why do I use the rubbing alcohol? The rubbing alcohol evaporates more quickly than water, and it doesn't saturate the flower as badly as water does. So I like to use the rubbing alcohol for speed purposes. We'll set that aside. I've actually already mixed the re-inker with the alcohol, and you can see I have a blue coloring in here. I mixed probably about that much alcohol to several drops of re-inker. Add more re-inker if you'd like a darker flower, but you can always add additional coats of the spritz. So I'm going to go ahead and get my Just Blooms flower. We're going to spritz the flower, and you'll see I have a nice light coating. I could continue to add re-inker spray and get a darker coating, but I think I like this lighter for this purpose. I'm going to set this aside. I have already dyed another flower using a different method. This was using a craft jar, re-inker within the craft jar and a little bit of the alcohol. You'll see I get a different appearance. I let the edges get a little bit more re-inker than the interior portion of the flower. Our flowers have holes in them, perfect for sticking brads through, and that's one of my favorite ways to finish at the center of the flower. I am using one of our bigger brads. Also, this goes well with our sarsaparilla paper packet. You might want to do a spring color for a lighter project. Now our flower is ready. So let's prep our card. To do this, we're going to start with a standard size card already folded. It's a 5.5 by 4.25 card. We're going to open it up, grab our paper trimmer, and we're going to line up the points. This is going to give us our diagonal cut. You want to make sure the points are right where they're supposed to be, or else you won't have a nice diagonal cut. Okay. So now we have our two triangles. To get the crisscross effect, we're merely going to flip over that triangle. But we want to make it look a little bit more fun than just the black on black. So let's grab some of the sarsaparilla B&T paper. The plaid is what I'm going to be using. And I've already cut a piece of the plaid. I cut it 1/4 inch smaller than the standard size card, so this is 4.25 by 5.25. I'm going to repeat the process of cutting a triangle. Now we have two triangles. However, you'll see that they're the same way, so we won't be able to have the B&T on both sides. But if we flip it over, we've got a nice background color to go along with the design of the plaid. We will adhere that with a little adhesive. And remember, I gave myself a little bit of an allowance so that I could have a nice black edge around each of these pieces. Okay, and then we'll attach the solid side to the other piece. Okay. Now to attach this triangle, I'm just going to go ahead and eyeball where I want to put adhesive. I want to make sure not to put adhesive on this portion of the triangle because we want to leave a pocket to slip a little note inside of. So, and we do want it to stick all the way on the bottom. Okay. Now let's decorate the front of it. We're going to be using our cocoa ribbon, and we're going to add a little bit of adhesive to both sides. We're going to tuck this ribbon behind before we attach the front of the card to the back and create a pocket. And I like to have things lined up, so I'm actually using the lines on the background texture paper as my guide for making it straight all the way across. So we got a nice little line. Let's add our flower. And you'll see in my other example, I actually used one of our big pinks and I dyed them. I tend to take all the pink ones and dye them another color because I don't do a lot of projects with pink using my boys. So I like to have the option of making the flower whatever color I like. And now we want to create a pocket. So we're going to add adhesive just along the outside of these triangles. Okay, we've got our pocket now. So let's create our insert. I'll go ahead and post the dimensions of the insert on the blog at createwithchristine.blogspot.com. You want to make sure that it's smaller than the pocket that you're putting it into so it flows nicely in and out of the card. I'm just going to slide it on. Poke a hole. Stick our brad through to hold it on. Flatten the edges. And using some more of the Cocoa Designer Ribbon Rounds, we're going to create a pull tag. We're going to put the loop to the back. This will give it a much nicer finish on the front. And I've heard this called a bookmark thread, or using it as you would use it on a bookmark. We're going to put the little legs through the loop. And we're going to very carefully pull it so that it creates a nice finished appearance on the front. Spread the little legs out. We're going to cut them at an angle. Now we've got our card to go on the inside